So I see we have quite a large number of participants. So I propose that we start so that we still have time for lunch. This is a first in EUROPARC's conference. It's an open stage. We called it the Speaker's Corner. So we invited our members and partners to basically have a short slot to present their work to our delegates. This session will be, well, there are three different tracks, parallel tracks. So participants may switch from one track to the other during the presentations, okay? We are called Diving Squirrels track, okay, so you know. So I'm Olivier de Sadler. I work for EUROPARC Federation, mostly in charge of a project on climate change adaptation and how do we integrate it in management practices. To host this session, I'm assisted by Teresa Pastor, who is our project developer based in Barcelona. I'm based in Brussels.
I'm fighting to change my view so that you can see the files right in front of you, but I mean, I'm not managing today. I don't know what's going on. So I'm sorry if you see me looking on the side.
Okay.
Something about that. I'm using two screens and I'm just struggling and not succeeding.
Well, good luck with that.
Yeah.
A quick reminder, this session is recorded. Can you record it, by the way, Teresa? Because so this session is recorded. If you don't want to appear on the video, please stop your video at your own convenience. I propose that if you have questions, so each speaker will allow for questions eventually. If you have questions, please leave them in the chat first, and then we will moderate the discussion. So we will have three different speeches. I won't do the presentation, speakers will do it themselves. But so each speaker has about 25 minutes, including questions and answers to present his project or his findings. Okay, so now we will start with Michael Jungmeyer, who will share his ideas. Please, Michael, the floor is yours.
So you should see my...
But you are not in presentation mode yet.
Not in presentation mode, but now.
Okay, yeah, all set.
Okay. Good morning also from my side. It is the first time in my life that I'm on a diving squirrel track, and I'm really excited to be here. Thanks for the invitation and thanks for the opportunity to present a new development here in Austria. My name is Michael Jungmeyer. I'm a professor for nature conservation and sustainable development at the University of Applied Sciences here in Carinthia. And at this university, we have established a new UNESCO chair for the management of conservation areas. And this is some news that we would like to share with you. I do not exactly know who is participating in this particular session now, but I'm sure I might know quite a lot of you because in all the last years we had again and again worked together with EUROPARC and with the very active institutions, boards, and also groups of EUROPARC. So you're the first one whom we are sharing this news with. Thanks for joining this session. The first question that might occur is what is a UNESCO chair? And I want to start with this iconic picture that was taken in the year 68 by Apollo, the Apollo 8 on its mission around the moon. It was the first time ever that humans were able to go on the dark side of the moon. So the Apollo was flying around the moon. And when they came back, they saw the Earth rising. This is what they saw. And they changed the agenda, they changed the plan, and they took this particular picture of the Earth. It was, as I said, one of the iconic pictures of the 20th century, somehow indicating this small blue planet somewhere in the middle of a cold black nothing. And it changed significantly the view on our Earth. And as you may know, in the years after, in the early 1970s, a lot of conservation activities and environmental initiatives have started. The UNESCO Man and Biosphere Program, the World Heritage Convention, the Ramsar Convention in '71, the activities of EUROPARC, not to forget. So this is a very significant picture. And UNESCO somehow has the understanding to represent on a very general level the ideas of mankind, the agendas of mankind, all the question of culture, of peace, of in the last years of increasing importance, of course, environmental issues. And UNESCO has launched in the year 1992 this UNESCO Chair program. And the idea was to have a look around the globe, around the whole blue, nice planet that we see here, and look for institutions, academic institutions, who have a particular focus on one of the UNESCO goals, on one of the UNESCO agendas. And these chairs, these professorships around the globe, they are thought to be think tanks on one hand and bridge builders on the other, to link between the spheres of academia that somehow appear to be a little bit lost sometimes, so between the spheres of academia and the real life problems and questions that have to be faced in civil society, in local communities, and also in policy making and political decisions. So this is the idea behind these UNESCO chairs. Each of the UNESCO chairs has a particular focus, as I said, on one UNESCO subject, on one UNESCO issue, and all in all, on the globe, at the moment we have about 800 chairs with different objectives and with different topics, and they are connected by this UniTwin program. So for UNESCO, these chairs are supposed to be nodes in a network, and this network is the UniTwin, where they cooperate these chairs. And as I said, some few weeks ago, this new chair on the management of conservation areas was recognized, all the contracts are signed, and this new chair is in place now. I'm in the happy position to be the chairholder of this UNESCO chair. So I represent the chair and this whole institution as a person, but of course behind me, I'm not alone. There is a small but very active and very enthusiastic team to support this idea. The chair has a mission which is a, well, it's maybe a big mission, and we do our best to at least address this direction. The chair shall empower and enable. So by means of education and by scientific results, it shall empower and enable personalities on one hand, institutions and societies to face present and future challenges in the management of conservation areas. When you see on the wording, we explicitly do not only address protected areas in a sensu stricto, but in a broader sense, conservation areas, so areas that have a particular focus on conservation, not necessarily being designated as protected areas. The goals, now it gets a little bit more technical, more in detail. You see in the middle of the slide, can you see, do you see my cursor? No? Okay, so you just have a look in the middle of the site. We have, in UNESCO, we have 3 particular types of model region or types of conservation areas that we address. All of these categories are very familiar to you, of course, but just to highlight that in the UNESCO World Heritage Sites, you know, we have these natural heritage sites, and in these sites we have areas that have an outstanding, UNESCO says, an outstanding universal value. So this is very specific sites that need to prove that they are unique on the globe. Secondly, we have the UNESCO Biosphere Reserves being learning regions for sustainable development. Experimental regions that I personally think that are really, really very exciting concepts behind, and these UNESCO Biosphere Reserves have generated really exciting elements in the last years. And the UNESCO geoparks, this is a geoheritage of outstanding value, which is to be used for sustainable development in a holistic concept. So this is the UNESCO sites, and this is the sites that I'm supposed to specifically work with, that I'm supposed to cooperate, communicate. We also have other chairs in the same field in Europe. There is 3 or 4. So we have a small scale network. And the idea now is to extract from these UNESCO sites with a lot of scientific support to extract elements, findings, tools, understandings, policies that also can be used in other protected areas. And this is what leads then to the mission to empower and enable the personalities, institutions, and societies. And this shall lead, as it's indicated on the right side, to strengthening conservation areas in a very general, in a very broad understanding. The whole thing is based, and you see this in the box below, on the UNESCO values and the UNESCO principles, which where the overall goal of a global society that can live in peace and in a transcultural understanding. This is like the core mission of the UNESCO and its values. And secondly, of course, all the international conventions and the international policies as laid down in different conventions and contracts base the whole work. So this is the theoretical structure that we are working in. This is the framework, and we have seven fields of activities. The first thing, of course, and this is very close to UNESCO, is formal educational offers. I will come back to that later. So the university provides different academic educational offers that are related to this particular topic. Secondly, and this is where many of our partners would come in, this is the institutional cooperation on the management of conservation areas. So we are seeking and looking out and trying to develop a network of partners and a network of institutions to work with us, not so much based on projects, but rather we are interested in long-term cooperations. So to really have a partner park, for example, with whom we work on a long-term perspective. By now, as we just started, we only have one. It's like the first pilot park, the Biosphere Reserve Nockberge here in Austria. We have three fields of research where we are supposed to deliver excellent international research and results. One is the research on new technologies to be implemented and integrated into the management of conservation areas. This is a really exciting thing when you, from the small devices where you put a camera on a beetle or on a butterfly to track, until the real big things with remote sensing satellite imagery. So there we have one focus. The second focus is on citizen science, and the third focus is on man and biosphere interaction. We, of course, work internally with the different institutions of the University of Applied Sciences. We have some non-formal learning environments. This is because we think and we saw in the last years that academic training alone is not enough. We need also to have an outreach to real life situation, to real life people. And for this, we have established a non-formal learning environment as well. And as a seventh point, we have some outreach dissemination activities, and also we want to gain visibility, not only and not so much for the chair itself, but for the idea and for the intentions and for the question of conservation areas as all. And in this field of activity, and this is what I would like to address specifically and particularly to the EUROPARC community, to the colleagues of EUROPARC, if you see any opportunity to connect with the chair's activity, please do so. Let us do something together. In the educational field, we have a format. I'll come back to that on the next slide, together with EUROPARC, but we could also connect on research. We could also connect an institutional cooperation, and I should be happy to do so. I just asked the facilitator, Olivier, how much time do I already have I already spent?
You have 8 minutes left, including discussion. Okay.
Okay, so I will shorten now very much, because, and this is part of the plan, because the educational offers will be presented by Christian Papp in the next session. I just want to provide an overview. We have 4 academic offers by now for managers of conservation areas. One is the European Parks Academy, which we deliver in cooperation with EUROPARC. So there is a strong link already, and of course we should be happy to elaborate this more. There is one education on nature conservation engineers, so really technical, practical conservation activities. And the third is academic trainings on demand that are tailored to specific needs. The flagship in our academic offers is a master program, Management of Conservation Areas, which is a unique international learning experience. We consider, and in the next session, Christian Papp will present into depth this specific training and learning opportunity. I should be really happy to cooperate with EUROPARC, with its institutions, with the persons, with the boards, with the regional contact points. Let's cooperate, let's stay in contact. You have here some of the contact details. Thank you very much for listening to me. I do not exactly see who has fallen asleep by now or not, but thanks for listening to me, and I'm open to any question, of course.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you very much for your intervention. We may have time for one question. So if someone wants to ask a question in the chat, if not, you can certainly liaise with Michael offline. Any question? I'm not seeing all the videos. Okay, well, so I propose that we move to the next speaker then. Thank you very much, Michael. Could you please stop sharing your screen? If you want, you can leave your...
Now I see all the participants.
Yeah.
Okay, nice to see you, however.
And so you can share your contact details in the chat if you want.
Yes.
Okay, so next up is Christian from the same organization. Christian, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Can you see my screen, the presentation?
Not at this very moment. Can you? Yeah, no, it's good.
No?
It's very slow. Can you change slide just to check? Yep, it's working.
Yes.
We are on your second slide. Yeah, that's the cover. Okay. Well, you have about 25 minutes, discussion included. Okay. So.
Okay. Thank you very much, Olivier. My name is Christian Papp. I am an ecologist by background, and I am leading the wildlife and landscape department within WWF Romania. So I'm based in Romania, but I used to be a globetrotter before the COVID pandemic, as most of you did, I guess. So I think that all these, online conferences are really good, but unfortunately, I really miss, the chance to interact with people. Hopefully, as also Michael pointed out, we will still, stick to some of the good habits, but in the same time, it would be really nice that in the near future we can still interact as we did before. I am also a former alumni member of the Management of Protected Areas program that was organized by the University of Klagenfurt and ECO some years before, and I was actually enrolled in the very first round of this program between 2005 and 2007. And now I'm honored to present the brand new and updated program, which is the Management of Conservation Areas, which is offered by the University of Applied Sciences and ECO. Briefly, this is the content of the presentation. We are actually going to go through the learning goals and the different training courses that are offered by this training program. We will also see the cooperation and the whole setup behind, and of course we'll also have a short session at the end for different discussions and questions. As you all know, the biodiversity values are different from region to region, and this means that we have to use different tools and methods in order to best address all these conservation needs. And you all very well know that we are working with different protected area categories in order to cope with all these challenges. We are talking about the IUCN categories, but also about the international designations like Ramsar, EUROPARC, and so on. So actually, all these different contexts are actually very demanding in terms of management, and you have to use different tools for this. You also need different expertise and professionals that should cope with all the challenges. So to work in a protected area, you should all know by now that you have to deal with a broad range of topics. First of all, you need to have a good conservation program developed, to work with different stakeholders, to organize different meetings, resolution workshops, to deal with different tourists or different categories of tourists, all of them with different expectations. And all in all, everybody working in a protected area should be prepared actually to deal with all these challenges. And this is what the university is actually offering, a brand new master program in the management of conservation areas, besides some other educational programs. But now I will focus on this management of conservation areas program. And you might, of course, ask yourself why there is this need for such a program. And the answer is simple. If we see the evolution or the trend of establishing different protected areas, you can realize that this is a high demand. And in 2000, for instance, there were only 70 million square kilometers of protected areas worldwide. And now we are talking about 17% of terrestrial protection. This is what year 2020 brings to us. But at the same time, you also have to pay attention to the different international trends, and the CBD in the zero draft of the post-2020 biodiversity strategy is asking from us to have by 2030 at least 60% of the sites with important biodiversity elements protected, along with at least 30% of land and sea areas. And more than that, out of these areas, at least 10% should be under strict protection, which means that there is definitely need for skilled and very well prepared professionals. And of course, this master program can offer a broad range of opportunities in this respect, and to train and develop capacity of those who are interested to join such an initiative. Very briefly, I would like to introduce you the learning goals. Of course, we should talk about the understanding of the aims of different conservation areas and their roles towards the conservation of biodiversity. Then you will also learn, if you will apply, about the different tools that are available for the management of conservation areas. And I think that here we cannot really cope, with the development of the artificial intelligence and the conservation technology. So actually, there are fields that are advancing quite fast, and we try to adapt some of these tools to practical, let's say, conservation work. But of course, not all tools are relevant for different, let's say, areas, which means that you have to select the best tools that might help you in your efforts to conserve biodiversity. And here, of course, we are talking about the monitoring with drones, with different trapping cameras, with iridium collars, with video collars, and so on. And all these will be detailed in the program of the conservation areas. Then there is also about the ability to reflect and to solve some complex problems. And of course, when coming to the complexity of protected area management, you have to have strong skills in terms of planning and management of conservation areas, which of course is not an easy task, as you all know. And last but not least, the program is also developing hard and soft skills for the management of these conservation areas. So it's not enough to have the right tools and the knowledge. You also need the skills in terms of managing effectively the conservation or protected areas. Some words about the structure of the program. The program lasts for 2 years, and it comprises 8 learning blocks with 8 days each. This means a presence of 64 days. At the end, you will have to deliver a master thesis in a relevant context. And as I also pointed out, this is an upgraded program based on the previous management of protected area program, which was organized between 2004 and 2014. In terms of teaching, this is really interactive, and it is organized in a great variety of formats. What I also really liked in this master program was that every course was organized in a different park from Europe, and this was a really great opportunity to also learn about the different contexts and the different problems in the various countries that have been targeted from the conservation of biodiversity point of view. The training is also providing an evidence-based approach, and it is also important in terms of reflecting the possibilities, let's say, to address the different issues in various protected areas. And also this interaction with the different park managers and park staff is also of great importance from our point of view. And for me, it was a real experience to have, you know, this exchange and the different opinions of the different staff working in protected areas. Then another positive aspect is that there is a great diversity of participants. Normally they are participating from different continents. We are talking about several countries normally participating in such a program, and additionally there are different guests and partners that are also invited to come and speak to the participants. And now briefly about the different courses that are organized. Of course, every master program starts with some basic information about different aspects, also administrative aspects. Then there is an introduction of the different conservation area categories and institutional framework. There is a session on different conventions, pieces of legislation, directives, and so on. Then we also talk about scientific foundations of the management of conservation areas, and all these principles that are presented here are really important in terms of developing your conservation skills. Then another course is focusing on transdisciplinarity. This is getting more and more attention, at least in Europe. And as I can also see it in my everyday job, now it is not possible, you know, to work isolated. So you have to work with a broad range of stakeholders, especially when talking about protected areas. You need to work with foresters, with hunters, with spatial planners, different NGO scientists and so on. And it's really great to have this mindset towards transdisciplinarity and how to approach it. Another course is on principles of development. Developing cooperation planning and research is also an important element when talking about efficient conservation. So all this will be explained in detail. Then there is also a course on management, on pure management, because this is also important in order to have efficient conservation of biodiversity, and how to, tackle different issues from this management perspective. Then in terms of methods, tools, and devices, here the course is coming with really a practical approach, teaching how to use the different conservation technologies and under which context, which is a great help, of course. Then there are also some principles of strategic planning. It is really important, to have a proper management plan, develop proper conservation measures. Otherwise, it's quite hard to have results, good results, and in this way, we'll be able to learn how to best develop such a plan. Then there are different methods presented for integrated and participative planning. Again, it's really important to communicate and to work with stakeholders. So from my point of view, it's a great advantage if you know how to approach the different stakeholders, even if they tend to be conflictual or opposite to your goals or expectations. So I think that this planning is really, really important, and if you can manage to get the stakeholders on your side, then your life will be much easier in your protected areas. Then there are different methods for integrated management of buffer zones, for instance, or ecological corridors. Again, protected areas cannot work isolated, so you need to establish different operations with some other areas. The conservation area networks are also important from this point of view, and can be successfully used in order to maximize your work and efforts in your protected areas. And of course, towards the end, you are going to develop a master thesis relevant in this context, and you have to defend it in the front of a commission. In the previous presentation, Michael pointed out very well the role of the UNESCO chair, and I think that this whole setup is really, really important when talking about improving the conservation work in protected areas. So the UNESCO chair is actually bringing many benefits to this program. First of all, is making sure that the courses are really relevant and scientifically based and rooted in this whole context of protected areas management. Additionally, there is also an improved visibility of the program, and we should also consider also the job opportunities that such a program is offering under the umbrella of the UNESCO chair. In terms of the institutional context, first of all, we will have the participants that will participate in the program together with the international lecturers. And what I also liked in the previous program was the interaction, not only between participants, but also with the international lecturers. And it was really great, to have lecturers from the representatives of different global organizations like CBD, Ramsar, and so on. And I think that this is really a unique opportunity for everybody who is going to participate in this program. Then in the background, there is also a core, let's say, group that is making sure that the courses are really relevant and the whole educational program is meaningful. And here the program is supported by a coordinator, a director, administrative and scientific director as well. So all these people are making sure that everything is really well rooted in this international context. Beside this, the program is also supported by highly relevant scientists. There is the Austrian experience pool involved, along with different relevant institutions, and also a scientific advisory board. Of course, all these institutions and organizations that are displayed on the right side of the slide, they are also involved, so they fully support the running of this master program. And here you can find some statements of the previous participants from different countries and continents. And, you know, in this alumni club that we have for the management of protected areas, we used to meet regularly and to exchange different views and experiences about the program, and everybody was really satisfied about the content and the whole outcomes. And I must admit that also for me it was really important, because my professional development was kind of boosted after this master program. So I warmly recommend you to enroll in such an offer. Here are some pictures from different, let's say, activities that are organized within the master program. Besides lecturers, there are also some excursions in the protected areas that will host the different courses. As I said, the format is also really nice and interactive, giving the opportunity for everybody to get involved to the highest extent possible. And again, it's a really great opportunity to meet people, to meet new cultures, and to learn a lot from other participants and also lecturers. You might wonder what is the tuition fee for such a program. It's 12,900 euros, which might seem a lot, but the good news is that this can be paid in 4 installments, and you can also apply for different scholarships. And I must say that many of my colleagues also applied for such scholarships, and it was really easy to do it at the end. What you need in order to be enrolled in such a program: first of all, a relevant academic degree in any field of protected areas. So you can either be an ecologist, biologist, or an expert in communication, in sustainable development, and so on. You need to provide a CV and an application form to be filled in, and of course a strong letter of intent in order to demonstrate your interest in such a program. Because, as I said, the standard is quite high, and it is important also for the program to have really motivated participants on board. The next round will be organized next year in September, and the deadline for the application is end of January 2021. Now I think it's time to discuss more about this nice program, and if you have questions or I don't know.
Thank you very much, Christian, for this very comprehensive overview of the program. It looks very interesting indeed. Yeah, we have time to take one question or two. So if anyone has any questions, otherwise, Christian, you may want to put the link to the program in the chat if people want to have further information. Any questions?
Okay.
You can unmute if you want to ask your question directly. There are not that many people. Okay.
Well, if not, then thank you very much for your attention, and we are going to organize some more events in order to promote the master program. So in case you would be interested to I don't know, to attend some other sessions, or maybe you will have some specific questions in mind, you are of course invited to join some other sessions in the future.
Okay, thank you very much, Christian.
Thank you.
So we will move to the next speaker, who is Victoria from Intermares, based in Spain. Victoria, the floor is yours.
Okay, thanks a lot, Olivier. Thanks to EUROPARC for inviting Intermares to this session, and thanks to all the participants. My name is Victoria González. I'm working for the Biodiversity Foundation. It is a public foundation in Spain, from the Ministry for the Ecological Transition and the Demographic Challenge. So in the Biodiversity Foundation, we are coordinators of a huge marine project. So I'm speaking about marine conservation. I think I am the only speaker dealing on marine conservation. And I'm going to share with you a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation. Let me look for it in 1 minute. Wait a minute, please. Sorry, I don't know what's happening. Let me.
When you
Can you
share your
upload the
screen, can you stop sharing? You have to choose the right application. So if you unshare.
Okay, I have to. I thought it was done from the.
So now you share your screen, and then you select PowerPoint. You should have a.
Okay, can you see it now?
Yeah. You can move to presentation mode if you prefer.
I have already done, but you know it takes some seconds.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
It's taking more than.
Yeah.
It worked before.
Yes, it did.
Yeah. Well, let me do it again. Oh, I'm sorry. These technical problems.
Yeah. It keeps happening.
Yeah. I don't know why, but it is being too slow. Well, anyway, I can start if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, it works. Can you see it now?
Perfect, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you about Intermares, a brief overview about objectives, actions, the main pillars. Then I'm gonna also talk about Natura 2000 network at sea, the basis of the innovative management that the project is promoting based on the peculiarities of the marine environment, and also on the lessons learned from the experience accumulated in conservation and management in the terrestrial environment, both successes and failures. Then I'm gonna give you also some brief results of the project, and also an overview of the next challenges, and then I will be ready for questions if you have to. Okay, the project objective is to consolidate the Natura 2000 network at sea and to lay the basis for an effective, innovative, and integrated management. The main pillars for its implementation are the active participation of all the sectors involved and research and knowledge as a basic tool for decision making. It is a large European project with a duration of 8 years and a budget of almost 50 million euros. So it's huge. It is also a commitment from the Spanish government to achieve a change in the model of the management of the marine environment in Spain. In order to do so, we are implementing a big set of actions that we have organized in five topics. We have conservation actions, we have research, monitoring and surveillance, governance and capacity building, and communication, awareness raising, and environmental education. In this slide, I'm going to show you the geographical coverage of the project for you to have an idea of what we are talking about. The Spanish Marine Natura 2000 network includes 272 sites. It's more than 8 million hectares of the Spanish seas. We have the Mediterranean and the Atlantic in the north, and also in the Macaronesian region. In the Canary Islands, you can see it on the bottom to the left. And then the competencies in the marine environment fall mainly in the national authority. You see that the areas next to the coast are the competencies of the regional authorities, and bigger and offshore areas are competence of the national government. In total, the marine protected area in Spain at the moment is more than 12%. Okay, some hints of the Natura 2000 network and at sea. First of all, and it is different to the terrestrial Natura 2000 network, there is clearly an insufficient knowledge on the biodiversity and the marine sites. There are huge offshore areas, high mobility species crossing sometimes from one point to the other in the planet. Difficulties to explore the marine environment are really bigger than knowledge on land. We needed to have cutting-edge technologies before getting into the ocean and explore what we have there. These technologies were provided since 2008 with the implementation of another project, which was very successful also in Spain, Life in the Mares. And well, for example, just to mention that big oceanographic vessels are needed to explore offshore areas. Remote operated vehicles are one of the technologies used, and some others. So conservation at sea started later, clearly, mainly due to these circumstances. On the other hand, legislation was also developed later on marine conservation. And for example, we find now that we have a clear definition of marine habitats. There are 5 broad types of habitats, ranging from reefs or caves, big definitions of habitats. We are making life of our scientists very difficult to organize all the diversity of the ocean richness. On the other hand, monitoring and surveillance are also a challenge in the marine environment. Huge areas with almost no people concentrated on the coast. How to do all this? We need new technologies also to do this. As I said, marine conservation started later, so we can take lessons from conservation of the terrestrial Natura 2000 network. Now, to start Intermares, we had as a basis a strategic plan, the priority action framework for the marine, for the Natura 2000 network, both on land and at sea. This is a plan which defined what actions had to be done, what are the priorities, and also what are the main sources of funding to implement it. Another lesson from conservation and management at at sea is that we need to start with an integration approach. We need to integrate actors, policies, and funding. I'm going to explain a bit more later on this issue. Also, as a must for conservation is to ensure cooperation between public administrations. Competencies are divided into sector, territories, and it is absolutely needed to collaborate and coordinate. Then a pillar also of this project is to ensure proper governance processes, also related with the former clues, but we need to involve socioeconomic sectors and users since the beginning, and to involve them in the adoption and implementation of public policies. And finally, and also a big issue in Intermares is that we are trying to fulfill capacity building needs. A colleague of mine of Intermares is also presenting the capacity strategy that we have developed in Intermares and how we are doing all this. Then the integration pillars, integration of funding. We have not only environmental, financial instrument for the environment, but we have also financial instrument for fisheries and financial instrument for social issues. About policies, we are integrating biodiversity policies, but fisheries, international policies also, the European 2030 strategy, and on all relevant policies. I want also to highlight that a clue of this project is that it is being run by a coalition of partners, which are very different in nature and competencies. The coordinator is the Biodiversity Foundation, as I said, but the ministry itself is also cooperating and participating as partner. And we have also the Spanish Institute of Oceanography, which is a relevant scientific institution in Spain for the marine issues. We have also representatives from the fisheries sector and two relevant international NGOs, BirdLife and WWF. Sectors involved, I have already mentioned a bit, but public bodies, fisheries, tourism, energy, maritime traffic, naval, scientific community, and the society in general. So these are the pillars of the integration approach. Managing of funds is always a challenge, and I just want to mention that Intermares is doing that thanks to the fact that the Biodiversity Foundation is intermediate body for the management of two big European funds, the European Social Fund and the European Maritime and Fisheries Fund. How do we manage these funds? First, through calls for proposals, and then through public tenders. We coordinate at the same time the implementation of live actions and the coordination of all these projects. So some results to date. I'm just giving some hints because the project is huge. If you have a further question, you can ask me at the end or even through email after the conference. We've made many conference coordination meetings with autonomous communities at technical level and with other ministries as well. We have been implementing already more than 10 oceanographic campaigns to increase knowledge on habitat and species and to propose new sites. We are also implementing lots of participatory process with the involvement of different sectors and users. We have about 80 sites which will have a management plan by the end of the project in 2024. We have elaborated a capacity building strategy, and we are already implementing different training sessions. And we have also implemented and made a study to evaluate the viability of the use of new technology in surveillance and monitoring. Global figures, about 7,200 participants today, more than 795 entities involved, and 266 spaces for participation. So huge numbers for participation. Challenges for the next 4 years, because we are already in the middle of the project. First, we have to complete the Natura 2000 marine network. We are already in the way. I have mentioned 12% of marine surface protected. We will reach 18 by the end of the project, and we hope to have 30% in 2030. A big challenge also is to finalize the governance strategy and implement different governance models in pilot sites. We are working hard on these issues now. We have also to advance all participatory processes. These are also complex and challenging processes that we are undertaking now. We are going to produce best practice guidelines in participatory processes in Marine Natura 2000. A lot of this document and many others will be, of course, available to all interested people. I have already mentioned the capacity building strategy, and finally, communication is also a relevant pillar of the project, and we are working now in finding indicators that allow us to measure the quality of the communication and the behavioral changes that we are looking for. So that's all. I hope it was clear. I'm ready for questions from all of you, and thanks for participating in this session.
Thank you very much, Victoria. It's very exciting to see that marine conservation is developing and to see ambitious projects such as Intermares. So thank you very much. So we have time to take one or two questions. So let me check out the chat. No, so we don't have questions in the chat. Don't hesitate to raise your hands or open your mic to ask a direct question. So there is one question. Will the material you are developing be available in English in the future?
Sorry, I didn't understand.
So the question is about the material or the productions that the project is delivering. Will it be available in English so that it's easy to share in our network?
Yeah, that there will be many materials in English. The capacity building strategy is already in English, is in the website, and we are ready to share to any interested people. Anyway, if you have interest in whatever and you need English translation, please let us know. We are trying to do our best, but of course we are producing lots of materials, and we are ready to share all of them, of course.
Okay, thank you very much. You may want to leave your contact details in the chat for the people who attended. Are you the right person to contact if we need more information?
Of course I am.
Okay, excellent.
I'm leaving my personal email, of course.
Okay, we have a message from one of my colleagues who's running a workshop on marine conservation this afternoon. And so Intermares will also be presenting part of their results in this workshop, which is number 5, just in case. Okay, so thank you for your email. So the email of Victoria is available in the chat for those who would like to to discuss this topic further. So I propose that we move to the next speaker, Atina from Interpret Europe. Thank you very much again, Victoria.
You're welcome.
So Atina from Interpret Europe, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I need to dive out of all the information we just got and an amazing project, and I'll try to bring you in a total different environment. I'm really happy that I'm once again in the EUROPARC conference, and Interpret Europe works closely with the EUROPARCs, and that's something that I believe both appreciated very much. So let me share. it's one of the important things that we do. We share, and now we share screens. Okay, I'm Afina Tsekura. I'm from Greece, and I work on the field of the natural heritage. And I'm going to introduce you a little bit, Interpret Europe. Many of you already have heard something about Interpret Europe. Some have already participated in our events and actions. And okay, I won't go so deep as yesterday night with the EUROPARC information that I realized that I could not even answer a single question, but it was big fun. So I'll go. Okay. So Interpret Europe is the association, the European Association for Heritage Interpretation. It's a pretty young organization. As it started as a network, so as an idea mostly in 2000, but established as a charity in 2010. So this year we celebrate our 10th year of work and development. And we are very proud that after all this work, we have more than 1,000 members in 56 countries, not only European countries, you will see in a while. And we really believe that we need to learn from heritage because it's very essential if we want to have a future, a shared future in Europe. So here you can have a look where our members are, almost all over Europe, and also from all the continents of the globe. And that's very interesting because we don't only have the European reality, but also a global reality, which we consider to work on. Okay, the vision from Interpret Europe is to exchange first-hand experience and give natural and cultural heritage a deeper meaning. This is an expression you're going to hear a lot from interpreters, the deeper meaning. And in a while, we're going to talk more about that. And of course, we have some goals. It's because heritage interpretation, it's only known in very small percentage of stakeholders. We try to embed heritage interpretation in as many organizations and stakeholders we are able to do. And through our membership, we want to support each other, to work together, to exchange ideas, because interpretation needs the human input to go further. And okay, we, as all associations, we have several activities. So communication is at the heart of Interpret Europe's activities, as we communicate with the members inside through news mails, newsletters, several articles that are published in our website, and we also publicate a lot of activities from other associations in the same field. And we also have LinkedIn and Facebook groups in also in national level and European level. Some of them are only for members and some others are open to public. And also we work with a lot of projects within the EU Lifelong Learning Program. There are several projects that we already have participated, like Inherit, HeritQ, HISA, and all these projects that you can find in our website, very analytic. And events, we have, the core is our conference, which every year is held in a different place in Europe, trying to see firsthand how interpretation is implementing in specific areas. This year we couldn't do that, so the area was the electronical spot, but also that gives a different perspective in things. And advocacy, I intend to advocate for heritage interpretation at the European level, and it's member of the European Heritage Alliance and was at the stakeholder committee for the 2018 European Year of Cultural Heritage. And through that, we also got an excellence. So a prize from the European Commission's, the Altiero Spinelli Prize, for the study paper Engaging Citizens with Europe's Cultural Heritage. It's also a paper that you can find in our website. It's a lot of material that is on our website. People can download them for free and work with them. So I go back to training, because training is something very essential for us. The training courses that Interpret Europe is organizing have started in 2015. And since then, around 50 one-week courses have been held all around Europe. And it started from the Certified Interpreter Guide course. And now we are proud to have several courses that basically cover the whole range of interest in interpretation. The training courses can be held from certified trainers individually, or through Interpret Europe, or by working along with an organization, or could be a park, a protected area, or another organized group to fulfill their needs. Okay, interpreteurope.net is our website, where you can find a lot of information about what we do. You can download the materials that are available there. You can learn more about the training courses we are organizing, events, and also you can find how you could join Interpret Europe. But what is interpretation? Because it's a word that many people are not comfortable with, have not find in their in the way till now. So let's go back and talk about what was going on in 1925 and how people were seeing a visit in a place. Let's see our side, the natural side, the nature side. So what you actually see here is a museum. And when this museum was built, it was a huge discussion about how this could actually be a museum, because this museum has actually one exhibit and it's not even inside. You can see it from the window of this little trailside museum, and it's in California in the Yosemite National Park. And you can see the half dome very impressive and very well known. So that's how we start a discussion in a different way, how to approach our heritage and how to approach visitors in a heritage site. So we stay geographically in the same area, and we meet John Muir. I believe most of you have heard about this Scottish guy that left very early for the United States. And he's a very significant person for national parks, nature, conservation, and for us, interpretation. So John Muir was saying, as long as I live, I'll hear waterfalls and birds and wind singing. I'll interpret the rocks, learn the language of flood, storm, and the avalanche. I'll acquaint myself with the glaciers and the wild gardens and get as near as the heart of the world as I can. So that's where we focus. It's that we want to get as near as possible at the heart of what we visit. So, an idea of how this works. We have a site, it could be a natural or a cultural heritage site, and which we call heritage phenomena, and we have the people who wants to visit this site. But that's a very straight line, which is a little bit dry, let's say. So how can give these people the opportunity to really connect to the heritage? And here we have the interpreter. And we have a triangle, as we call it, the interpretive triangle, that all these three things combined with each other work together to give to the whole experience a deeper meaning, as we're talking before. So that's the heart of interpretation. It's how we can give the experience and help people experience a site in a different way, not just go and have an information, walk around, see some things and leave, but go further, connected with their own feelings, their own experience, and link it to their lives and their heritage. So basically what we want is people who really enjoy their visit, but they also share the experience in a different way, and they have also their input in this experience, and not just a simple tour around a site. This picture combines a lot of things of Interpret Europe. It's from a conference, it's a study visit, and it's also a big opportunity for interpreters to share the way of approaching their work. So I go back to John Muir. I'm going to stay there. And even if he has thrived in the United States, he's a European. And if you ever visit Dunbar in Scotland, where he was born, you can understand why this person was so much drifted in nature and experienced it in a different way. For me, it was an amazing visit in my soul. So he was saying that most people who travel look only at what they are directed to look at. So it's about looking or it's about seeing. And it's what we want them to see. Many times they experience a visit that is framed with barriers and very narrow looked in. And I'll jump a little bit in our days and the huge discussions that have been held in our days, how things should be. And this is a picture that I want you to hold in your mind, because I'm going to tease you for a little discussion on really, what do we feel that we should say that it's a visit in nature, an experience in nature. It's just going out, or what? And John Muir said again that between every 2 pines, it's a doorway to the new world. And really what we want to do is open this door to the people, give them another perspective, give them the opportunity to experience in a different way their heritage, connect with the heritage, and keep it as a treasure for their lives and how they will develop as people. And here we come again in the deeper meaning of interpretation, and it's what we really want for people to feel at the end of every experience they have with interpretation. And John Muir was saying again, I only went out for a walk and finally concluded to stay out till sundown. For going out, I found I was really going in. And that's a big difference with many things that we experience in our lives. So I'm going to tease you for a little bit of discussion, because it's a discussion that we also started between the interpretive cycles. And it's, do we really need to change something in these days? We hear always that we have to get prepared and find new ways and new things. But actually, do we need to find new tools? Or maybe we should not. Maybe we have everything there. Maybe we should just change a little bit of the way we think. What do you have to say? Olivier,
Thank you very much, Athena.
You're
so anyone wants to answer the question or to comment on that reflection?
Yeah, I think, I mean, I see your point, but I think given the situation, the current situation that we have with biodiversity laws, all this plastic everywhere, we really need to change things. Not only to change our vision, but also our way we behave.
Mm-hmm.
But I also agree that there's many things are already there, and we only need to give them a new look.
Mm.
But yet also we need to change things, some behaviors. And we haven't seen it these days with the coronavirus, people throwing masks. So come on, you are going out because you need nature, you are feeling that you need nature, and you are not taking care of the masks, things like that, or with you know, rubbish. Or this is my perception.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. We see throughout all these different talks that building capacity, engaging more people is needed in our sector. What I also see through this different presentation is that maybe what's happening inside the protected areas is already very good, and maybe our attention should be put on what is happening outside these protected areas too, because obviously mining is a more damaging activity than protecting a nature park. So there is something that we can do to improve, and we are facing, well, as science tells us that we are facing global changes that we were not that aware of earlier. And so there is some kind of urgency. Yeah, Sana?
Yes, thank you for all the people who have presented, and thanks, Athena. This was very interesting. I'm personally very interested in interpretation, so this was really interesting. And I think one of the things that we should need to focus on is try to make people understand the value. I'm sure we have been doing this for forever and ever, but try to make people understand the value of nature and actually the cost of losing it. If we can have it's not nice to have monetary values, but when you can have monetary value on something, it's much easier for people to understand. Okay, if we lose this, we lose this and this much of money. But also, of course, there are many more other values than just money. But if we could somehow start making decision makers and general public to start thinking in those terms, what do we lose if we lose nature? That would be then that might help us to reach people and make them start having them on our side.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting.
Thank you very much, Sana.
What I was thinking, because in interpretation we provoke a lot, is that also having this in mind, in the protected areas, you could provoke people to think also what's going on outside. So usually we use a time they give for the visit to absorb them in nature, but maybe we should also focus in a balancing situation that, okay, that's a protected area, but you should have a protected area called the earth, because there are no boundaries for nature, really. But we need to put the boundaries in order to at least protect the remaining treasures. But that's for me the thing that we have the tools, we have the means, we know how to work on that, but maybe we should shift a little bit in the way we're doing it, so practically, because you cannot have big crowds and all that. Also from the content of this. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments for all speakers? Well, at least, well, Michael had to go, but as we are concluding this session.
Can I ask something?
Yes, please.
Yeah. I agree with all of you that it's very important to show people how we all have to take care of our environment. I think that there should be a step before, because I think that if you can make people experience like what John Moore experienced, but then maybe smaller, but magic moments in nature, you make them, you give them a wow effect, and it may be easier to make them aware of we have to be very careful with that. So maybe that's the change you're looking for, or you mentioned that it's not just having an interpreter and telling a story about the environment or something, but that people experience a beautiful sunset, maybe in our park, beavers, spotting a beaver or whatever. There's magic moments they will remember, and that memories make that they will be more aware of taking care of, I think.
Yeah,
that's
totally
true.
agree.
Thank you very much. Okay, then, yeah, we see that engaging with people, and not just general public, but the users. We know that there is a lot of land use conflicts, that some people are more driven into making a lot of money in a very short time, and some people are more into protecting what we have. Everyone is contributing to bringing solutions. The other thing we saw in this presentation, well, through those presentations, I mean, is that nature conservation is requires multiple skills. Well, a very broad range of skills, and that is a challenge in itself with small teams and small and little resources. Well, I would like to thank you. Oh, yeah, Victoria.
Can I add something, please?
Please, please.
Yeah, just you mentioned conflict for uses in land. I just want to mention that the ocean is now becoming a big field for enormous conflict, because there are lots of big developments taking place very quickly in the ocean, and lots of sectors, maritime traffic. Teresa mentioned plastics. So just to have in mind that we are focusing now on the ocean because it is also becoming a big challenge to protect and conserve the ocean values.
It is definitely a bias we have to correct. And it's true that the oceans and seas are now a battlefield for resources. When you look at fishing, wind turbines, and so it's a very lively world we live in. So maybe just a quick announcement. This afternoon, starting at 2:30, we have workshops. You may not remember where you to which you registered. Never mind, just select the one you want to participate in, and click on the link, and the facilitators and hosts will manage the numbers. So that's at 2:30, and then we have a keynote address at the end of the day, and where Carol will announce the winner, the final winner of the quiz of yesterday, and then it will be time for goodbyes. So if you don't have any more comments, I propose that we all go for lunch. And see you at 2:30. The links are on the website, as you all know by now. Bye-bye.
Very much.